All right, so we're here today to discuss a bunch of things NBA. We're going to start off with the Lakers, but right now I got Jacob Gribbin, Grant Mona, and Sean Kretz here to help us out, discuss some current stuff in the NBA, starting with the Lakers. So, this has been a popular thing, right? Everyone's talking about the Lakers. Are they as good as everyone seemed? I mean, I thought it was free money to bet on them to repeat because they were better than last year, in my opinion, at the beginning of the year. And, now there's some obvious issues. LeBron is sitting out, not for medical reasons, apparently. I guess he just wants to sit out and kind of, maintain his body. Davis is dealing with injury. Who knows if he'll come back to 100%. They have no shooters, which is an issue. And then Drummond's inconsistent. So there's obviously a lot of issues with this team. Clippers look really good. Suns look really good. We'll get into that. But what do you think about the Lakers and their number one ranked defense really being inconsistent as well? Because every other game, it's like they give up 130 points. And the next game against Denver, they look fantastic, only giving up 89 points. So what do you guys think?
I'll go ahead, Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, I saw that LeBron is not going to be 100% for the rest of the season. And although LeBron's that guy that can flip the switch in the playoffs, I'm curious to see how much the ankle injury is going to affect his play in the playoffs, because I know he's going to turn it on, but it might bring his ceiling down a little bit.
Good, Grib.
All right, I'm looking at the futures on the Lakers, plus 425 to win the championship. That's been the lowest all year. And I'm going to Vegas in 2 weeks. I'm going to be betting that hard. I've been saying Lakers all year to repeat. Lakers all year. This is LeBron James. This is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. He just rested enough. He's like KD, James Harden. They're taking their time because these regular season games, nothing. Playoffs is what matters. Playoffs. And that's
it's going to be, unfortunately, before the playoffs.
It don't matter. 1 or 2 extra games.
Well, I think that's good for them. Am I the only Laker fan? I mean, because look, obviously I want to be unbiased, but I am a diehard Laker fan, and I actually think getting the 7th seed and winning one game against the Warriors or the Pelicans and then playing, hopefully, the Jazz, not the Suns, would be better than playing the Clippers. Definitely, we want to play the Nuggets. If you're a Laker fan, you want to play the Nuggets because they're not going to beat the Lakers in a 7-game series, whether AD is good or not. LeBron would win that series because simply it's just Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. and the Argentinian point guard, who's actually low-key pretty good, Campazzo.
Duco Campazzo.
Yeah. He's real. My girlfriend's from Argentina, so I gotta support my Campazzo.
Yeah, there you go.
But
name flashy passer.
Yeah, he's actually really good. But anyways, the Lakers would beat him in a 7-game series, but they might be in the playing game. What do you guys think about LeBron's comments, too, about it being BS? I mean, obviously, if he wasn't in, if the Lakers weren't trending toward the play-in tournament or playing games, rather, he probably doesn't say that in an interview. He's obviously flustered. Is this good for the league? Is it good for the future? What do you think?
I'm a big fan of the play-ins just because, well, what their main objective was to get rid of the tanking, right? To not have teams at the end of the year say, screw it, we're in the 10 seed. Like, why would we even try anymore? That's not good for the league's ratings, and that's not good for viewership, right? So that was their main objective. But I think the main objective of the play-in is just excitement, man. It gets excitement back in the league. You have teams like the Wizards, who had an amazing run in the second half after the All-Star break, that in a regular season without the play-in, they wouldn't even have been in contention. They would have said, screw it, let's blow it up. Let's just sit Russell Westbrook, sit Bradley Beal, play all the young guys. Who cares? And then you have, and this is a huge development, Zion Williamson just broke his finger today, or it was a couple days ago, whatever. So now you have the Kings, the Sacramento Kings, who have been awful all year, almost one of the worst defensive ratings in NBA history. And they're getting 2.5 games out of that 10 spot for the play-in. So they could be a play-in game. And that just goes to show, like, I love the play-in for that reason, where it gives these teams that don't have a great record, but, I mean, it's the NBA. Anything could happen. You could have the Kings beat the 9 seed and play for the 8 seed. Like, you never know. So I think it's amazing for that aspect. Whether the Lakers are in it or not, the Lakers, the Blazers in the play-in could be an amazing matchup too with any of these teams. You could have Dame against Steph Curry. So I think it's amazing for the league. I think they should keep it. Maybe some modifications, but as it is now, I love it. It just gives more teams an opportunity to win.
I just find it kind of ironic because I think initially it was LeBron's idea for the play-in like a year or two ago, and he said, "Oh, let them play it out to see who makes it."
Yeah.
And then now, when he might be in it, that's when he's like, "Oh, I don't like it."
Yeah, well, it's not just him; it's him and Luca. I mean, Luca and Mark Cuban said the same thing. They hated the play-in, but at the beginning of the season, Mark Cuban's one of the owners that accepted it. So
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Definitely. Gribbs, what are your thoughts on this?
No comment. No comment.
Okay, well, I'll counter with this. I mean, I think the main argument has been against that, right? The opposing argument, the opposition has been saying, what happens if you put together a really great season and then you're screwed? Like you win 40 some games in the 7 seed, right? Or the 6 seed, you fall to the 7 or something, right? And then you have to play a team like Sacramento, like Grant brought up, and that's, I mean, Sacramento doesn't deserve to even sniff the playoffs. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Walton's the
I
worst
agree.
coach in the NBA, probably.
I agree.
I used to like Luke Walton, you know. He had that swag. But I mean, look, a raccoon could have coached that Warriors team. I mean, it's like, come on, right? So then again, you got Darian Fox who could pop off for 50 in one game, and Hield could get hot and score like 10 threes, and all of a sudden they could be playing the Warriors for the 8 seed, right? So to me, I mean, I'm a fan. Obviously, the NBA it's an entertainment, right? It's for entertainment. At the end of the day, it's a show. So they want to do whatever is going to get ratings. This gets ratings. I agree with it. At first, I was skeptical. Even as a Laker fan, I do agree with it. And I actually think it's beneficial to the Lakers if they get a play-in game. I mean, it really humbles them. Because last year, remember, they had to be humbled. They lost to the Blazers the first game, the Rockets the first game. Like, they were consistently losing first games. And LeBron was like, we got to do something, right? I think the Lakers, in retrospect, will be fine. They got to figure out the rotations. I don't think Frank Vogel's that good of a coach. That's a hot take. I think he's a great defensive coach. I don't think he can coach an offense. He doesn't know what to do with those rotations. I mean, the starting 5 should be that their biggest problem's threes, right? Why don't you start Marc Gasol, who can get shooters open at center, and then put in Andre Drummond, Harrell, and Schroeder, or whatever, off the bench to provide that offense and that defense, right? And you put a couple guys there too. But in the beginning, start LeBron, AD, Gasol, and 2 shooters, either McLemore and KCP or McLemore, even Kuzma, if he's on, right? So, I mean, that's what I would do. I don't know why he hasn't figured that out yet. And look, I've been pretty critical of Marc Gasol. He turns the ball over too much. But if you start him, I feel like their first quarters in points will go way up. And then you put
I'm gonna leave my argument out for the Grant's rants because I have a whole rant for it, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to chime in too early.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Okay.
I mean,
so yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I was just saying, when you look when he was on the Raptors, like his last year, he wasn't productive like with points. He was averaging like 7 points or something, but he still started every game, and that's why Serge Ibaka left, because Serge Ibaka was much more productive on the offensive end. But Gasol brought all those other hidden factors that.
No, I watch every game. I watch almost every NBA game that I can. You know, you can't watch like 20 simultaneously unless you're LeBron. You got like 10 TVs in a room, right? When he's not playing. None of us have dough like that yet, at least. Prayers up. But look, I was skeptical of Marc Gasol, but now I kind of watch him and I'm like, I don't care if he turns the ball over if you can counter that with like 3 or 4 threes in the first quarter, because then what that does is bolsters the offense. Then you go into your defensive scheme. You put Drummond in, Davis, and Harrell. You could put all 3 in the game at the same time. And I think you could even put Davis at small forward. I know that sounds crazy, but I think if you do that and you put LeBron at point guard, they'll have so much length. And you put Schrader in there to, guard any guards. And I think that's a good offense. Again, I'm not the coach. Frank Vogel is, obviously. That remains to be seen. So before we get into Grant's rants, I want to talk about legitimate contenders, too legit, or you're going to quit. Which are the teams that are going to quit? They're pretenders. And which are the teams are legit contenders to win it all? Because this is one of the most even seasons we've seen in a while. People always argue, oh, the Nets are so good. They got these 3 superstars, and the Lakers are so good. But, I mean, there's more of a chance for anybody to win, I think, in this year than there was for KD, Steph, and Klay Thompson, right? So what do you guys think? Who's contenders? Who's legit? Who's going to quit? Who's not going to be able to – who's going to fold under pressure?
I'm going to start with the Suns. I think the Suns are flying kind of under the radar. I mean, not really. They're kind of flying under the radar. I think the Suns are very, very good. I think they're huge contenders. Now, obviously, they just passed the Jazz for first seed. I think the Jazz are pretenders. I mean, they had an amazing start. Like, I can't take that away from them. They have, when Donovan Mitchell was healthy, they had him, Gobert. Joe Ingles was amazing. He still is. Jordan Clarkson was out of his mind. But the Suns, they've been playing phenomenal. They've been beating all the top teams. I mean, they have, it's the first playoff berth in 10 years, so they have that confidence. The main thing with the Suns that I'm kind of worried about is it's their first time in a playoff game. Devin Booker, all those young guys, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton. I think that's what's going to bite them. But I do see this team getting to the conference finals and maybe even the finals as their high ceiling. I probably won't happen, but they have that kind of talent. And with Chris Paul at the helm, I think he's getting severely underrated for the MVP. I mean, Chris Paul took this team that didn't make the playoffs last year. Granted, they did go 8-0 in the bubble, but he took this team, that acquisition alone got them all the way from not being a playoff team to a 1 seed. Like, that is unheard of. Unheard of.
Yeah.
So I think in the West, my contenders are the Suns. I still think it's the Lakers. If they're healthy, the Lakers are a contender, man. That's just how I see it. Those three, the Suns, Lakers, Clippers, contenders, pretenders, Jazz, Mavericks. The Nuggets, they're too hurt. Dozier's out. Jamal Murray's out. They have Michael Porter Jr. and they have Jokic, but I don't think that'll be enough. So that's mine in the West. In the East, it's the big three, man. It's the Nets, the Sixers, the Bucks. I mean, those are the ones that are going to be contenders.
Oh, Miami.
So, man,
Now you're laughing, but they got some of the best depth in the league. Don't sleep on Miami.
I don't know. I feel like Miami hasn't been together enough the whole season for them to be a contender, man.
Like Tyler Hero.
Sure, they have talent, but they've underperformed so much this year that I can't put them up against the Nets, the Bucks, and the Sixers. They're not in that category.
But
they're just not.
I mean, we'll get into this in a bit, but I mean, I heard a report Tyler Hero's having trouble dealing with fame. That's why he's kind of having a bad year. I don't know if that's true. Again, I mean, this is like maybe speculation, but I remember Kendrick Perkins in the finals was like, oh yeah, Tyler Hero is going to be a big time all-star next year, like one of the best players in the NBA. And he's virtually had the same season as last year. You know, so I mean, that's obviously if he can play to the level he did in the playoffs last year. And is Victor Oladipo going to come back?
I don't know. He's been hurt so much too that you don't even know, what they're going to get from
that's
him. They might get 5 points a game out of him, but they might get 20. And if he gets 20, then they're a dark horse contender. So it's just up in the air right now with that team.
Traded Olynyk, right? And Olynyk is balling.
Yeah, Olynyk's balling out.
Probably should have kept Olynyk in retrospect. But let's go to Gribbs or Sean. What do you think about legitimate contenders and pretenders? Who's legit? Who's not?
I think one of the sleepers in the West is the Portland Trailblazers, especially because Nurkic has been back. They have Powell now, who brings a little more experience rather than Gary Trent. That's my big sleeper. I think they could maybe even make it to the conference finals. Dame's always going to show up. They just have a solid starting five. It's just their depth that might hurt them.
Defense, man. They got to play some defense.
Yeah. I mean, Nurkic adds a little bit, but
yeah, he does.
I don't know if it's enough. Pretender, I think it's going against Grant. I think it's the Suns. I think they're going to be good in the future. I think they're a really good regular season team, but I don't think they have the experience. I don't think this is their year. I think they'll be good years to come, but it's their first playoff appearance in 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
I think maybe next year or the year after, but I think this is a learning year. I mean, they're very good, but they're still young. So,
Gribbs, what do you got on this?
In a month or two, when it happens, I want you to repost what I got to say because they call me
this guy.
The West, easy. That's a wrap. LeBron, playoff LeBron, unstoppable. We all know that.
I thought
you're going to give me one team? You're going to give me one team?
The West is easy. It's LeBron. We all know it's LeBron, but the East is interesting. I think the Sixers, they're pretenders. They're not good.
You know what? Surprisingly, I agree with Gribbin on that.
I agree with him. Just because I hate Doc Rivers. Just because I hate Doc Rivers.
How are you going to win a chip when your point guard can't shoot? Sorry.
Yeah, but he's a defensive player of the year candidate. I'll give him that though.
Oh yeah, he's elite.
Come on.
And he did, he hates people watching him shoot. I mean, I remember I was training one time and he was there and he made everyone leave the room because he's so embarrassed of his jump shot.
Oh boy.
Do you want offense without defense or defense without offense? That's the question.
I don't know, but Gribbs, what do you think about the East?
Once Harden comes back, it's a wrap. That's a game over. Like no one's gonna
For
stop.
the Lakers too?
But I do like the Bucks. I like the Middleton, Holiday, and Giannis. I like that trio. They're gonna smack the Sixers. But I don't know about the Nets. I think they're gonna win that pretty easy. But everyone else they're all wash. I wash. Bucks and Nets.
Nobody likes the Knicks. Nobody likes the Knicks in here.
But
They're not going to win. They're good. Like, hey,
contenders.
props to them for having a great season, but they're not stopping the big three in the East.
They have a great defense. They're going to give some teams in the playoffs a tough time, man.
Talk about a guy who's not getting respect in the MVP conversation. I mean,
Julius Randle
turned into a superstar overnight.
Oh,
It seems like. I mean,
wow.
Knicks didn't have a superstar, right? Everyone was like the Knicks. What did you do in the last two off seasons? He kept Julius Randle, and all of a sudden he's ascending to this guy. And crazy that Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle, and Brandon Ingram all on the Lakers, and those guys are all going to be all-stars next season.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Lonzo's still inconsistent, right? But I mean,
but you guys laugh, but Lonzo Ball, man, he's improved so much on his shot. Like even if you look at his form, is perfect.
At the time, I think, as crazy as it sounds, I think that's the pick over Jason Tatum at the time. Now, in retrospect, we see because Lonzo was so dominant at UCLA. His court vision was unparalleled. He could shoot a little bit. He could rebound at the guard position. The Lakers needed that. They needed that swag. LeVar and the ball culture brought that swag back to LA. They needed that. I get that. Tatum, obviously, now, I mean, Tatum's the number one pick in that draft. But at the time, I get why the Lakers chose Ball. I never got why the Sixers chose Fultz, but Fultz was good. They just screwed with his jumper, and that really he had a good year with Orlando before he got hurt, but poor guy. I mean, they should have never touched the guy. Should have let him come in and ball. But I'm gonna end on this segment on this. I think contenders in the West. I think it's I want to be like Gribbin. I want to be confident about the Lakers. I would never place a bet against LeBron. I'll tell you that. Last year, I bet $100 on the Lakers to win it all. This year, I bet $150 on the Lakers to win it all, and I'm really scared. I do think LeBron and Anthony Davis are two of the top 5 most talented players in the league. Regardless, Davis needs to play more assertive. They need more shooters open, but they're gonna. I mean, I think it would take a miracle because LeBron is so good at basketball. It'd take a miracle for them not to make the conference finals. I think it would take a miracle because I mean, unless they match up to the Clippers in the second round and you're just like Clippers outplay them for 7 games, which I don't see happening. Unfortunately, Grant, I hate to say it. I mean,
I've been hurt too many times, so you're not hurting my feelings.
I really, you know what? I do like Paul George. I really do. I hope he has a good playoffs. I hate all this slander about him because when he's on, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And
I agree.
That. And I think he's been more. He's been better for their team this year than Kawhi, in my opinion. He's been that guy. He's been their best player this all year long. Like I'm saying, like, So I think contenders: Clippers, Suns, Lakers. I think those are the only 3 teams. Warriors have a shot to win 2 games, maybe against the Suns or something if they slide in the 8 seed because they got Curry, right? And he's one of the best players we've ever seen. Now, I mean, this season, Curry bringing it back. This is a hot take, but I think Curry is when he retires will be a top 5 player of all time, best point guard to ever live. And that might be disrespectful to Magic Johnson, but just by the way he transcended the game and the way he scored. I mean, I know he wasn't a finals MVP. He kind of disappeared in a couple games in the finals, but what he's done like consistently of changing the game, I think it's undeniable. He's a top 5 player and he needs to be in the MVP conversation too. Cause who's the second best player on that team this year? Draymond or Andrew Wiggins? I mean, look,
Kelly Oubre? No,
definitely not. Although he's getting those commercials though because he's good looking. So I mean, I respect.
Everyone thinks
he's
that.
getting his money. So I mean, oh my God, women love that guy. It's like one good-looking guy in the NBA. They're like, oh my God, I'm kidding. A lot of them are good looking. He is really good looking. We'll give him that. But he needs to play basketball. And, the Warriors, they're a threat to win a play-in game, right? But they're not contenders. It's the Suns. I disagree with who said the Suns were pretenders? Sean?
Sean did.
Yeah. I disagree with that. And this is why. They got Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul almost beat Houston with, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as his
no, you can't.
player.
Here comes
You know what I mean? Like
Sean with the ring. I know what you're pointing at there, Kretzy.
I know. But look, Chris Paul doesn't have a ring. Yeah, but he's changed. This is the exact same team as last year, pretty much. They were a 9 seed. Yeah, they almost made a run, made the playoffs. Booker played great. They would have been a great 8 seed, right? Trailblazers jumped them, right? Okay, but to a 1 seed, the impact. Grant's right. Chris Paul's got to be in that MVP conversation with Steph Curry, Jokic, and Embiid. Personally, I think top 5. I don't even put Giannis in there, and I know that's kind of disrespectful because Giannis has won the last 2 times, and yeah, of course, everyone knows he's a top 5 player in the NBA. No one's denying that, right? But the top 5 MVP candidates in my mind are Julius Randle, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic, and it's just then the rest is like, oh yeah, Giannis, Westbrook, someone who's been disrespected, finally putting those haters back on the map. Because we are not respecting that man. When it goes down, he is going to be statistically the best point guard that's ever lived. Statistically. Straight up. There's just no denying that. Will he ever win a ring? Who cares? it's just fun to watch play, and he's the most athletic point guard that's ever played. I don't care if he can't shoot anymore, right?
I agree.
That's another team that I think could win a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference. I really do. They're hot. They got Bradley Beal, who's the best scorer in the NBA this year besides Stephen Curry. They got Bertans, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. If that guy gets hot, he had 1 game where he had like 40 points this year just on like 10 threes or something. He's good. I don't like them getting rid of Wagner or whatever. The guy that was good. Thomas Bryant's out all year, right? He's not coming back.
Yeah, he's
no, he tore his ACL. But the guy that is playing amazing for them, that has kind of like changed the whole team, is Gafford, that they got from the Bulls.
Yeah, Gafford.
Daniel Gafford has changed that team. He gets rebounds on the offensive end. He can defend. He can run the floor. He's like perfect for Westbrook and Beal. Yeah.
He was great. I don't know why they gave him up. There's some things I question. I do question. Yeah, we'll get into why didn't the Lakers give up, Tucker and Kuzma for Kyle Lowry or Schroeder or whatever, because I really don't like Schroeder, and as much as I like Horton Tucker or Kuzma, you got to make that deal. Even if they're old, you got a 2-year window. Is LeBron really going to be winning titles at 38? Maybe, if AD is still really good. But it's really this year and next year for LeBron to win his 5th. He'll win it one of the years. I think it's this year, and he probably will win it again next year. But if it's not this year, he's definitely going to win next year. You can bet on that because he'll be healthy. He'll find a way. But I know I've been talking for so long, but Eastern Conference, I agree with Gribbin. It's Milwaukee and Brooklyn. I think the Sixers are pretenders. I don't think they're legit. Ben Simmons can't shoot. Again, I know I said, he's embarrassed to watch people shoot. I don't know if that was the case. Maybe he just wanted his alone time with his jumper and didn't want anybody to watch. I don't know if he was embarrassed, but he told all the other people that were training in the next, and right behind him to leave the room. And I was one of those people. So not him, but his guy, because he is secure. He's high. He's
a high commodity.
Yeah. The guy's a winner. There's no doubt about that. But, if Brooklyn's healthy, Brooklyn. But don't sleep on Miami. Don't sleep on New York. New York could be in a 7-game series. That's crazy to say. They could do it.
Yeah.
They could do it.
Don't sleep on the Pacers.
Pacers, yeah. Sabonis is a first-round fantasy pick, too. We'll get into fantasy next week. Now, I want to go into, before we get into, like, MVP and some other stuff, Grant, what do you got to say? We'll do Grant's rants real quick.
I got a lot to get off my chest.
Okay, so let's start with what do you want to start with?
I want to start with the Lakers because I didn't get my whole situation in the beginning.
Go ahead.
I'm sick and tired of everyone saying that this Laker team will miss the playoffs. Oh my God, they're going to the play-in game. Oh my God, what is wrong with them? Let's all take a deep breath here. Every team goes through slumps. Sure, their 2 players are hurt, but you're going to act like every other team in the league isn't. The Nets are going through a slump. Why isn't anybody talking about that? The Nets have lost to the Bucks twice in the past week. And they have their players back. They have Kevin. Of course, they don't have Harden, but they have Kevin Durant. They have Kyrie Irving. They have Blake Griffin. They have their guys, and they were losing. And everyone, all I see on TV is everyone talking about, oh my God, like, oh, what if they meet Steph Curry? You know, what if they meet this team in the play-in? Like, let's just calm down and think of what we were talking about last year, right? Going into the playoffs last year, into the bubble. Oh, the Lakers can't shoot. Oh, well, they don't have enough depth. And what did the Lakers go on and do? Sure, they lost the first game of the series against Portland. Then they won 4 in a row. Sure, they lost the first game against Houston, and then they won 4 in a row. And they beat the Nuggets, who are beating everybody, in 6 games. So, or was it even 5? I don't know. But I think we have to stop pushing this narrative of when a team goes in a slump and they're missing their 2 best players, that we just automatically put them towards the bottom of everything. Like, the Lakers are still very, very talented, man. When they're even if they have LeBron and AD at 50%, they're not missing the playoffs. Let's get this straight. Anthony Davis and LeBron will play even if they're hurt. They're going to be very good in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying they're finals favorite, put them in the finals, they're going to win it all. But I'm saying this narrative that they're going to miss the first round, that they're going to be knocked out in the first round, knocked out in the second round, I think that's a load of crap, man. Like, if you have them at full health, even half health with those 2 guys, just their IQ alone is going to get, and their defense alone is going to be enough for them to compete. And this whole narrative of them, oh my God, they're in the 7th seed, like, oh, they're not even going to watch them lose the first playing game. Like, dude, let's relax, man. Adam Silver's not going to let this team miss the playoffs. Let's be wrong. Let's be completely honest here, man.
Sorry to interrupt Grant's rants, but Adam Silver is having nightmares that he can't get Zion into the playoffs year after year. Trying everything he can to get Zion Williamson in the playoffs, and he just cannot do it. And that's what's the plan. That's what the plan is for. He wants the Pelicans in the playoffs. He's doing everything he can to get him in the playoffs. But
exactly. They're not going to have LeBron out of the playoffs, man. They're going to have Scott Foster as a ref. They're going to put Adam Silver will ref himself if he has to. This team, they'll be fine. Laker Nation, as they call it, Laker Nation, relax. Everything's going to be fine. Calm down. And let's just not put in the fact that the last 4 games they play are against the Rockets and the Pelicans without Zion. So, sure, they have a tough schedule right now. Let's calm down a little bit. It's going to be okay. Rant over. I needed to get that off. And also, wait, not
Kyle Lowry. You didn't bring up the Kyle Lowry thing.
Yes. Well, I thought we were going to talk about that in general. We'll talk about that together. I don't want to just go on about it.
Let's keep going.
My last rant is, just like you were saying, Deutsch, Mark freaking Gasol. Why is Drummond playing so many minutes? Drummond is one of the worst finishers around the rim in the league out of centers. First of all,
unfortunately, there's no denying that. The stats show that.
Yes. Second of all, Marc Gasol, they inserted him into the lineup against the Nuggets, which was a huge game for them. He played against Nikola Jokic and outmatched him when in his minutes. He was a plus 24 in his minutes, Marc Gasol was. He hit the 3, his passing ability, his defense around the rim. Now, look, I'm not saying he's an absolute all-star, and Marc Gasol is the one that he was with the Grizzlies or the Raptors, but my God, if you just look at what he's doing for the team as opposed to Andre Drummond, it's a no-brainer, and I don't get what Vogel is thinking, man. Like, Marc Gasol is literally right there. He's sitting on the bench with a mask looking on, and I know he can give the team way more than Andre Drummond can, not to mention the free throws. Every time Andre Drummond gets into the paint, they're going to foul him, and he's going to go to the line and shoot 1 of 2, maybe 0 of 2. So that's huge in the playoffs. Free throws are huge, and I don't know if they're saving him. I hope to God they are, because I like good basketball, and I like teams making the right decision, and that's just not the right decision right now. I think Gasol should be playing a lot of minutes.
Yeah. Now, I'll be the last to respond to Grant's rants, but Gribbs, Sean, you got anything to say about this? What do you think?
I agree. I've seen it firsthand with Gasol. Yeah, I mean, he brings a lot of things that maybe he won't score like Drummond will, but he's going to play defense. He's going to be in the right spot. And he just brings more to the team that don't show up on the stat sheet every night.
Definitely. Gribbs? Got it right.
I'm gonna talk about your team, and you're not gonna give me the comments.
He says no comments anytime except Lakers
Wow.
in 6, Lakers in 6, Lakers in 6. Also, can we take a chance? What are these like troll accounts on Twitter? They're all making me so mad when they're like these ones about KD being the best player of all time, and like that one account that's like, oh,
Mickey got his Mickey Mouse ring.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he got his Mickey Mouse ring, right? And then the ones that are like, oh, this is the biggest series. Clippers just dominate the Lakers, win all games. Oh my God.
My favorite is after every time the Clippers do something or the Lakers lose, like Clippers run LA. Just what? Like
yeah, they need to win a series. I mean, I hate to say it, you need to win.
They need to win titles.
Also, who ended up winning the championship last year? Los Angeles Lakers. And wait, who won the first game of the regular season and their meetings last year? All but one. Clippers.
The Clippers.
It's all about the playoffs, and that's where Gribbin has a point. People on Twitter, people love to live in recency bias. They don't like to look at the past. Like LeBron is going to put up 30, 10, and 10 the whole playoffs. He will do it. And look, he's one of those guys. Like I know the argument is like, oh, Kobe and Mike would be at the games right now playing. Like they wouldn't bail on their team. Like people don't think LeBron's a cleaner, as if you've read Relentless by Tim Grover, like the highest mentality you can be, right? But I mean, I don't care if he misses every game until the play-in. I know he'll score 30, 10, and 10 in the play-in game. Doesn't need to play until then, all right? Davis doesn't need to play until then. And that's like people think I'm crazy for saying that. I wouldn't risk it. Maybe a game before, get him back in the groove because he's so inconsistent right now. They need to work on getting their shooters more jumpers. KCP and Markieff Morris are going to shoot really well in the playoffs. They did last year. They will again. I mean, people forget about finals heroes. KCP was kind of like a finals hero. I mean, he did a lot in that series, right? And so did Markieff Morris. Look, Vogel has a slew of issues he's dealing with as a coach. I don't know if he has delusions or if he's on Snoop Dogg's weed. But, I mean, yeah, he needs to play Marc Gasol way more, okay? It's not 420 anymore. You can't joke and play Drummond 35 minutes. I hate to say it. I love Andre Drummond. I think he's the best player ever to come out of the buyout market. I really do. But, I mean, he's the best rebounder in the NBA. Cool. Congratulations. They don't need this guy going in the hole and, near the rim and scoring. That's not how you're going to win games in the NBA nowadays. And as good as I love Drummond, I think he's fantastic. I think he brings his value and he should be playing 25 minutes a game. I think Marc Gasol needs to play also 25 minutes a game, and he needs to play with the shooters. Macklemore, KCP, Morris, guys like that. Get them open in the beginning of the game, like I said. Then you can put in Drummond for defense and put in Harrell for scoring. And you can even sit AD. I mean, honestly, they need to have Davis and LeBron healthy. Davis needs to play better. That's the key. And that's what scares me a little bit. I know LeBron's going to be good. Everyone knows LeBron's going to be good, okay? Davis has proven to be great in the playoffs. Cool. Congrats. But that injury was really bad. I don't know if he's fully healthy. I know they'll play him regardless because LeBron is 36 and they want to win their rings and they think they have a shot, which they do. They really do. And they match up really well, dang well against Brooklyn in a 7-game series. Best defense in the NBA versus the best offense in the NBA. And everyone wants to see that. NBA is going to try and make it happen. They will. And they're also going to try Clippers-Lakers. They want that really bad. And they were really mad the Clippers blew it last time. They were really mad. The NBA really wanted that. That would have been a viewership dream. They would have made so much money on that. But, yeah, I mean, finally I'll say I am scared as a Laker fan. I am scared just because of Davis, not LeBron. I do think –
I'm glad you can admit that. Admit because not a lot of Laker fans is like, oh, it's fine. But there's some stuff to be worried about.
I'm a LeBron fan, so I guess I'm a Laker fan. But
were you a Cleveland fan?
You guys have nothing to worry about. Take that plus 425 money and bet it.
I said that about Brooklyn before the year started. We have texts. Sean and I have texts of you saying bet all that money on Brooklyn. They're going to get harder.
They did.
Which one do we do?
Either one. You're one of those guys are going
to win. One you're going to lose money.
Maybe both. It's plus 250 on the Nets, and it's plus 425 on the Lakers.
Don't
So
bet 250
one of them hits.
on the Nets. That's ridiculous. Also, last thing I'll say, people forget the Lakers with just Dennis Schroeder and Andre Drummond and Macklemore and Harrell destroyed a Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant Nets team in Brooklyn about 4 weeks ago. People forget about that. Without Braun, without AD. When they really want to play, Vogel gets them to play. They might need to get humbled. They might be down 70-40 at halftime against the Warriors in a playoff game, and they'll still come back and win. I'm not worried about the playoff game, but I am scared about facing up with the Clippers or the Suns in the first round, second round, whatever. Not so scared about Utah, Denver, Portland. No one's scared of. Mavericks. Look, also Mavericks, pretenders. Last year they were better. What happened? They traded Seth Curry for no reason. No reason.
That's so bad.
Fired right there. GM should have been fired right there because what'd that do to the 76ers? Danny Green all of a sudden becomes good when he leaves the Lakers. Thank you.
All of a sudden, right?
Screw you, Danny Green. And then they get Seth Curry. What's the difference between this Philadelphia team? Shooting. Now, if the Lakers can shoot, which we all were skeptical of last season, right, going into the playoffs, if they can continue to shoot, they will win the championship, I think. I really do. At least come out of the West. Brooklyn's going to be hard to beat at full strength. Let's be real here. Yeah, they lost to Milwaukee, 2 times. They've been losing a lot. James Harden hasn't been playing. James Harden was playing without Kevin Durant, just him and Kyrie, and just him sometimes. And he was sometimes. In the league. So, that's a scary team. I'm scared of the Nets. Any Laker fan that's not scared of the Nets, like Gribbin, is delusional. I think we'll beat the Nets in a 7-game series if we're fully healthy. That's a big if. That's a big if. No, that's a big if, man. I don't think Davis is fully healthy. I don't think he is.
I agree. I don't think he will be. I think that's the big thing. He gets hurt so much nowadays where it's like, sure, he can come back and be healthy, but there's always that caution of him getting hurt again. It's just there's always that thing. He needs a full off season for him to be himself again. So
definitely. And before we wrap this up, I wanted to ask, who is the Rookie of the Year?
Anthony Edwards. I just know what Gribbin is going to say. LaMelo Ball. I knew it.
Come on, the media loves LaMelo.
Now look.
LaMelo. Come on.
Media loves Edwards. Edwards is hilarious, dude. They love that guy.
They love A-Rod. That was funny.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't know A-Rod. A-fraud. We don't like A-Rod in here. Right? A-Rod is a philanderer beyond belief, cheats on everybody he's ever dated, and was cheating the whole time in the MLB. So we don't like A-Rod at this podcast. Sorry, A-Rod.
Wait, can we do something? Can we, before we go, can we just give like our kind of just predictions for each round, maybe, for the playoffs?
Definitely.
Like maybe just say who's going to win the play-in.
Let's bang it. We already said Edwards and Ball.
Edwards and Ball. It's going to be one of the two.
Yeah, it's not like Tyrese Halliburton's winning the Rookie of the Year. So let's move on.
He's
okay.
Good,
yeah, he is good. Okay. Also, Bulls. Geez, that GM's gonna be fired within a year. You can't get to 500 with Vucevic and Levine, and you draft. Sorry, that's Patrick Williams, good player, but Patrick Williams over Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, it's so bad. The fact that Halliburton dropped to 7.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Dropped to 7. He dropped to 14 or 11, dude.
Yeah, whatever it was.
12.
Yeah,
you can't expect the Pistons to draft. Pistons need a point guard. They drafted Killian Hayes, Dante 2.0 since day one. I said, Mr. Dante.
That's a good comparison. That's a very good comparison.
Right? Okay, but let's go into predictions. Let's start with Sean. Sean's been fairly quiet, unusually quiet today. I know Gribbin is usually quiet, thinking about LeBron and he's thinking about.
Are we doing it based off the current standings?
No, look, make your standings, your final standings.
Yeah, whatever you.
Okay. Well, let's say the Suns get back on top and the play-in stays as it is. Portland stays below the Lakers. I think Golden State and Portland will make it through. So it'll be Golden State versus Utah.
Golden State.
Yeah.
I think I could see Golden State winning that. Honestly.
You could. That would be an upset.
Come back.
Yeah.
I don't think they say Mitchell's going to come back. I don't think he's coming back.
I think he's coming back, but he won't be 100%.
Dude, he fractured his hand. It's like Zion. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Sean, go on. My bad. My apologies.
And then Suns over Portland. I think that's gonna be a really good series. And you know what? Just to be different, I'm gonna call Portland.
Wow.
Just because you called them as your
2
contenders.
upsets.
I called them my pretenders. I gotta stick through with what I said. They're pretenders. Portland's my contenders, so I'm calling Portland over Suns. That's my hot take.
Don't bet against Dame Dalla. That's for sure. Never. Never. That guy's going to put up 50 on anybody's head right when the playoffs start.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What about Mavericks? What is that other series? Mavericks?
It would be Lakers Clippers if it stays like this.
Ooh.
And man,
that's not a series either of those teams want in the first round.
No, but I'm gonna go with the Lakers just because of off the basis of what we said the last half an hour. It's the Lakers. And then Dallas, Denver. I gotta go with Dallas. Lucas was electric. He's been electric all year. He's gonna be electric in playoffs. He's clutch. And that's the biggest
Kretzy is a huge upset guy.
A big upset.
That's not an upset. Denver's
like college basketball right now in the NBA. We're like Oral Roberts is going to beat Ohio State. Like I bet.
I just did pick every upset, didn't I?
Yeah, too much. You did 7, 8, or 7, 8.
Yeah,
6,
and then the Lakers at 6.
5. That's crazy.
I can see it happening. It would be incredible.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. What about the Eastern Conference before you go into the conference finals for your Western Conference? What do you think?
So first, I got the Raptors winning the rest of the season. They're going to get the 10th spot.
No way.
I didn't know Snoop Dogg went to Canada and gave you some lead. I know I brought that up again. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous right there. Raptors are not going to win the rest of their games. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. All right. Well, okay, so if the play-in stays as it is, I don't think the Bulls are going to catch up. I got Washington beating Miami because just Russell's at an elite level right now, and Beal's the best scorer in the league. I saw it firsthand against the Raptors the other day.
Miami 7 right now?
Miami 7.
Is that going to stay? Can they catch them?
They're tied with the Celtics, so it can go either way.
Celtics do not want to play in game.
No, they do not. And then Charlotte, Pacers, I think I got –
I'm taking
Charlotte? Oh, no, dude. You got Sabonis, Brogdon, and if
no. I said no. Sorry, I was saying Pacers are beating Charlotte.
No, but I heard Grant in the background. He's like, "Oh, Charlotte."
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until I give my predictions.
Charlotte. LaMelo Ball had 4 points yesterday. I'm sorry. As much as I love him, I mean, who they got besides LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, and P.J. Washington right now? Gordon Hayward is not playing the rest of the year.
I'm reserving my judgment.
The Pacers are hot.
Sean, go ahead.
Miles Turner is still injured, and he's argument for Defensive Player of the Year, and he's out, and they don't know when he's coming back. With him, I think they're a serious contender, but Malcolm Brogdon, yeah. Anyways, so I got Pacers and the Wizards, the underdogs again, and then so Wizards versus Philly.
Wizards. Call it right now. Call
another underdog. Screw it. I got the Wizards.
What?
Too much shooting for the
Wizards over Philly. Oh my god.
Too much.
I love it, Kretzy. I love
it. Sorry, I don't like Philly, but Wizards are not beating Philly as good as Westbrook and Beal are. I don't think so.
I'm glad this is recording because
we have proof if they do
it.
It's
possible though. I like that pick, and I was leaning that. I was like, I'm just so fixated on Simmons can't shoot. But they still got Embiid, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry. You know, like that's.
Yeah. There's still a number one seed.
You never know.
All right, next I got it's Pacers versus Nets. Gotta go Nets. Pacers don't have enough for that. Boston Bucks. I gotta go Bucks, man. The Bucks have been contenders the last few years, and they have a big upgrade with Drew Holiday, so I gotta go with the Bucks. And lastly, New York, Atlanta. I go with New York. I think their defense is better, and they just have more experience. Although they haven't been in the playoffs, they just got some vets, Derrick Rose and Julius. So that's it. Are we going deeper than the first round?
Deeper. Go back to the West.
Oh gosh.
You got in your upsets. You got Golden State versus Dallas or something, and then Portland versus Lakers. I don't know what's going on there.
All right. So next round, I got the Lakers winning.
Against who? Who are they playing in that round?
Wait.
They would play Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah, Lakers would beat Dallas.
Lakers
easily
over
in
Dallas,
that game
and
series.
then it would be Portland versus Golden State. No, wait, it would be
Right.
Golden State.
Oh,
versus-
no. Yeah.
Anyways, Eastern Conference Finals, I would have Lakers versus Portland, with the Lakers going to the finals.
Oh, my God.
Western Conference.
Lakers,
Conference
Portland
Finals
in the Western
game?
Conference Finals. That is unbelievable.
Oh my God,
You're
Trailblazers.
gonna see it 6-7 seed in the Western Conference Finals. It's gonna happen.
I live for the day that the NBA can be that competitive.
I know.
I really do.
Wow.
The one thing about this playoffs, it is much more competitive than the years prior because
This is the most. I've said it. This is the most competitive year. Many people think the Nets are like leaps and bounds better. They're not. So what about the Eastern Conference?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Conference Final. So we got the Sixers losing to the Wizards first round. That's obvious. And then we got the Nets versus the Pacers. Oh no, I already went through second round. Oh my gosh. So I got
That's the first round. The second round is Nets versus Milwaukee. What is it?
it'd be Nets versus Boston. No.
Milwaukee. You picked Milwaukee over Boston.
Right. So I'll just fast forward to the Eastern Conference. I think it's going to be Milwaukee, Brooklyn. It's probably the hot take. It's two best teams, to be honest. And then, you know what? I'm going Brooklyn Lakers. It's the obvious pick for the finals. I'm going Brooklyn. I have to do it.
Oh,
Adam Silver would love that. He would love that.
I would.
Everyone's
love
going to
that.
love it. It's going to be the new Cleveland Golden State.
Every year? You think next year?
No, just for this year. But, you know, with the
Probably
power.
next year too. I hate to say
Super
it.
teams. Maybe next year, yeah. So
Yeah.
those are my picks. I'm picking
Unless
Lakers over
Toronto can get a free agent, right?
DeMar DeRozan back to Toronto, baby.
I don't know if I was in championship.
Kawhi Leonard back to Toronto, baby.
He should have
No
never left.
shit.
Honestly, worst
Should have
decision
never
Kawhi
left. We would
made.
bring it
Worst
back. We
decision
would
Kawhi made. I do agree with that one. Okay, let's go Grant. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to go based off of the current seedings right now. So it would be Philadelphia and Charlotte. I'm picking Philadelphia. I mean, I love Charlotte, but they're not going to do much against Philadelphia. Then it would be Brooklyn, Miami currently. That's if they win the play-ins, whatever.
Wait, you're saying Charlotte wins over Washington and Miami wins over whatever, or Miami over Washington?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go based off of the 8 through 1s right now. I mean, the play-ins, anything could happen.
Whoever's the 10 or 10 seed wants to play Charlotte. They're like, please
So,
give me Charlotte.
Yeah. But then it would be Brooklyn, Miami. I'm going Brooklyn. I mean, Miami's not that good enough. They're not good enough this year. Then it would be Milwaukee, Boston. I got Milwaukee. And then it would be Knicks, Atlanta. I'm going Knicks. The Knicks are just really good on defense, way better than Atlanta. They just have a lot more vets, like you said. Then it would be Utah, Golden State. I think Utah wins. Golden State would probably give it 6 or 7, but I think Utah wins. And then it would be Phoenix, Portland,
Crazy
2-7. Because I think the Lakers will stay 6. I don't think they'll be a play-in team.
Lakers playing tonight
it would-
tomorrow.
They play tonight against the Blazers.
Oh yeah, that's tonight. I thought that was tomorrow.
Yeah,
They're gonna.
they have back-to-backs.
Crazy.
So
It's crazy. I said it takes a genius to figure out who wins this game. I am going to go against my gut, and I'm going to say the Lakers are going to win tonight, 107 to
I
104.
think they will. I think they will win.
Okay, go on. I keep interrupting.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So Phoenix, Portland. I think Phoenix takes it. I mean, like I said, I think Phoenix is a contender. Then it would be the LA matchup, 3-6. Now, I love my Clippers. I love the way they're playing. It's the best they've played in a long time.
Take them. Do something different. Clippers.
I'm gonna have to say Clippers just because there's so much uncertainty with the injuries, man.
I like that.
And the shooting has been terrible. The Clippers are rolling on all cylinders. They're literally firing on all cylinders. The only person that's hurt is Serge Ibaka. So
he'll come back.
DeMarcus Cousins has been really good too for them as a late pickup. And then so I'm picking the Clippers, and then I'm gonna go Denver, Dallas. I'm going Denver. I think Denver's just a little bit better than Dallas. I love Nikola Jokic. He's a walking triple-double. Luka's great, but Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. are incredible. They're 9-2 since Jamal Murray went down. Which
I mean,
is
Michael Porter
unbelievable.
Jr. is a future NBA superstar.
He's amazing. So what happens so who would play who? I'm going to go Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. Eastern Conference Finals, I got the Bucks and I got the Nets.
But they're going to wait. But as standings go right now, aren't they going to play each other in the second round?
Would they play? Okay, so if they play each other in the second round,
then you got Philadelphia.
I'd go Nets. So then it would be Nets Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay. I go Nets.
But yeah, basically the Eastern Conference Finals is Milwaukee, Brooklyn. We all know that.
Yeah. So in the West, my Western Conference Final would be. So who would it be? It would be, Phoenix, right? So Phoenix would play the Clippers. So I think the Clippers would beat the Suns, and then it would be Utah against Denver.
It's possibly the second round matchup of all time right now. So
I know.
Jamal Murray out.
I think I'd go Denver. So it'd be Denver Clippers for the Western Conference Final, and I think Clippers go to the finals. I don't think they win it. Brooklyn will kick their ass in the finals, but I think it's Clippers Nets, and the Clippers Nets they played twice, and it's been amazing matchups in the regular season. Their games have gone down to the wire. They've had everything. So
good series.
I think that would be entertaining. But that's who I got. I think the Nets are winning it all this year.
Yeah, I'd bet $100 that Gribbs is just going to say Lakers.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's going to go through the playoffs. What do you think?
I will. So
okay. Man, I lost $100. Here we go.
I think with like 6 games left in the season, that's all going to get messed up. I don't think the Clippers will be a 3 seed at the end of the 6 games. I think the Nuggets are going to overtake them because you know what? The world doesn't work where the Lakers are going to play the Clippers in the first round. Everyone wants to see.
Okay.
Jesus doesn't want that.
Going to take the
basketball gods.
Denver's going to take the 3 seed. Remember that and put that on your Instagram when it happens.
Denver's playing Utah currently, so we'll see about that.
Okay. For the play-in, I'm probably gonna go Blazers and Grizzlies. I hate watching the Warriors play. It's embarrassing. I don't like watching the Warriors play. Dame Dalla and John Morant, they're gonna take the play-in. That makes it all interesting and like messed up. So the Jazz would play the Grizzlies. Oh, Jazz, easy. Then the Suns would play the Blazers. That's a cool one. I like that one. I think that one goes to 7 games. I'll take Dame Dalla. Playoff Dame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then so the Nuggets would play the Lakers. See, here's what confuses me. I think the Lakers are going to drop. They might be in the play-in like Brandon said. So I have no idea. But
let them remain 6. Would they beat the Nuggets?
Oh, easy. That's
right. What happens if they're 7 and they play the Suns?
Yeah. And I don't even know what that would make. So
that would mean Portland would play Denver.
I like Jokic. I think he's the MVP. I love watching that guy play. He's a magician. You got the MVP. You're gonna make it deep. You're gonna go deep. So that's what I think. I think it'll be Denver over the Blazers.
How about Dallas versus Clippers? Who wins that series?
Okay, that's a cool one. That's a fun one. That's a real fun one. But
that was like one of the best series last year.
Kawhi shut down Luka. So Dallas first round exit. Sorry, Matthew. And so what would that make the finals?
It'd be the semifinals. That'd be Lakers versus. You said the Lakers were 7. They'd beat the Suns. Then they'd play the 3 seed, which would be Denver. LA, and then Clippers, other LA versus
Utah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good second round.
Perfect. It'd be Clippers LA, just like how everyone's in
Clippers LA in the conference final.
And then Lakers win. So that's how I think.
Okay, Eastern Conference.
And this one is fun. This is real fun because 6 games.
That's gonna be fun.
All look at 5, 6, 7, 8, all like 3 games separated. Ooh, that's gonna be so fun. But I like the Hornets. I know you guys don't like the Hornets, but I like the Hornets.
I like the Hornets. I said that, and Deutsch gave me this whole spiel about the Hornets. I love the Hornets.
I like Rozier.
And they don't have their top scorer.
True.
Doesn't matter.
Very true.
But Miami, sorry, Deutsch. No, they're. I don't even know if they'll make it out of the play-in. To be honest.
Jimmy Butler is like the closest mentality to Kobe Bryant in the league right now, I think.
That's true. I'll give you that one.
He wills himself. I mean, he's a triple-double machine this year when he's healthy. He's been that way. He could will that team to win. I don't know against Brooklyn, but any other team other than Milwaukee and Brooklyn, if they could play like Philadelphia in the first round, let's say Miami drops to 8, I'm taking Miami over Philadelphia.
Wow.
Now keep going, Gribbs. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I think the Celtics will drop to the 7th, so then the Heat are in. But I don't know. So it's basically as it is. So Hornets, Sixers. It's pretty much the same as Grant. The exact same thing. I like all the favorites, but I do like the Hawks and Knicks. I think they might upset someone.
I do too.
I really think they're going to upset someone.
But the Knicks?
Brooklyn/Bucks.
No, I mean if they're the 4 seed, they could beat Philadelphia in the second round. They're not beating Brooklyn. They have a shot. As I said, they could beat Brooklyn. There is a possibility that the Knicks, if they played Brooklyn, could beat them because they have a great defense. Although you don't know. I mean, Brooklyn's offense is unreal. But anyways, Gribbin, keep going.
That's what I got. I got the Nets out of Eastern.
Okay.
Basic, chalk, normal.
So
Nets, Lakers.
Okay.
I've been preaching that since day one, since we first started talking.
Nets, Lakers.
Lakers.
So Grant has Clippers, Nets, and then all 3 of us will probably have Brooklyn, LA. But let me go through it real quick. I'm going to start with the Western Conference here. Let's assume. I mean, I'm not going to assume. I'm going to predict. I think Phoenix is going to have the 1 seed. I think that Utah is going to have the 2 seed. I think Denver will move up to 3, like Gribbin said, and Clippers will move down to 4. And I think Lakers will drop to 7. Portland will move up to 6.
Wow.
Not tonight though. Like I'm saying the Lakers will win tonight, but the Lakers lose a couple games they should win. I mean, you can't bet on the Lakers if they don't have LeBron playing, right? So then you have Portland up there, right? Golden State will stay at 8. And I mean, the NBA would love that. Steph Curry versus LeBron James.
Versus LeBron.
Oh, my God. I mean, we know who'd win that game, assuming they're healthy. And then you'd have Memphis and San Antonio. I think that stays. I mean, look, yeah, I don't think the Kings can pass San Antonio. I'm going to say something crazy. I think that with Popovich and DeRozan, I think San Antonio beats Memphis in that playing game in that 9-10. And then they
not a hot take.
I like that pick.
I really do. I think DeRozan has really talk about a guy who's willed himself to fit in the modern NBA when he was outcast. I mean, they were like, he worked on his threes. His passing has become some of the best in the league. Not saying he was a bad passer before. He was good. But he's become an elite passer too.
Yeah.
And he can shoot now. I mean, that guy's disrespect. That guy should be an all-star every single year. Every single year. I mean, that was ridiculous that they took Mike Conley. Oh my gosh. That was the worst. Mike Conley should have never been on the All-Star team ever. He should have talk about one of the biggest frauds of all time. He was making $32 million a year at one point, right? For like Memphis. I like Mike Conley. Decent player. Right? Like solid player, like career average or career a little bit above average, but he's not an all-star. Let's be real here. Okay. So San Antonio wins that game. Now you got Lakers, Golden State, and I'm playing Lakers. And then you got the loser. Oh, so this is weird. It would be Golden State versus the winner of 9-10 for the – and I think Golden State stays and they beat San Antonio to stay in the 8 seed even though they lose. Yeah. So then you'd have Suns, Warriors in the first round, which the Warriors would hate. They'd rather play the Jazz. I think the Suns win that series as much as I would pick the Warriors over the Jazz for sure. But, I mean, I just don't think Mitchell's coming back. And, I mean, I've been in Twitter fights about people saying Gobert should be an MVP candidate. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, you don't watch basketball if you think Gobert should be an MVP candidate. Okay, so then we got Phoenix would beat Golden State. You got Utah versus the Lakers. Oh, they'd love that.
Wow.
They'd love that. That'd be a
Wow.
free 5 games right there. Free
Yeah.
5-game series for the
Lakers would win that one.
Lakers would win that one easy. I wouldn't even be close. I know Ingles kills them, but without Mitchell playing at 100%, they win that series easy, regardless of their struggles against them in the regular season, right? Then you got Clippers versus who do I have? Clippers, Dallas again. Clippers. At the end of the day, Luka's great. I know when I forgot who said it, was it Grant that was like Denver is playing Dallas and you're like Jokic is the MVP, Jokic is going to win. Talk about next year's MVP, Luka Doncic. I'm predicting that right now. Next year's MVP of the league is Luka Doncic, and he is going to put on a clinic in this series. That'll be 6 or 7 games. That'll be tough for the Clippers. But they'll win it. They'll win it because Doncic and Porzingis are going to play great, and they got Dwight Powell and Tim Hardaway. If they had Seth Curry, they could seriously win. And if they were all healthy, and last year they maybe win that series. They were a much better team last year, right? And then you got, I just said Clippers, right? Oh, Portland versus Denver.
Ooh.
You're gonna call me crazy. Portland.
Can't bet on Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum, man.
I do not think. I mean, Sean's right. You got Nurkic, you got Dame, you got CJ versus 2 guys, Porter Jr. and Jokic, and they're great.
Norman Powell too is underrated.
Who?
Super underrated.
Norman Powell.
Oh yeah, he's underrated.
Yeah, Norman Powell.
Except he killed my fantasy team when he was traded to Portland because he was averaging like 30 a night in Toronto because no one else was scoring, and then he was traded, and I was heated. But yeah, I mean, he UCLA grad, he's a great player. Okay, so then the second round we'd have Suns versus Suns. No, Suns would play. Suns are the 1 seed, right? Yeah, Suns Clippers. Clippers. That'd be a great series. And Lakers.
That's been a fun series.
Lakers, Portland. Woo! I'm gonna say Clippers Lakers Western Conference Final.
Wow.
No, it's crazy. I really do think if it doesn't happen in the first round, it happens in the Western Conference Final. Yeah. So and then I'm just gonna have I'm biased, but Lakers. Lakers, 7 games. I think it's a 7-game series. I do think the Clippers Paul George is going to have a really good playoffs. Mark my words. He's had a terrible playoffs, every single playoffs, but this year,
I agree with you.
He will be good this year in the playoffs. He really wants it. He wants it. So then in the Eastern Conference, we got playing games. I think Washington beats Washington, Indiana. Ooh, as it is right now, I think Charlotte falls to 9. I think Indiana goes up to 8. And I think Washington beats Charlotte, and then Miami beats Indiana in a really close game. So I think Washington then again beats Indiana. I think Washington gets the 8 seed behind Westbrook and Beal, and I think that Miami stays with the 7 seed after beating Washington, and they'll play Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn stays at 2. Oh, actually. No, I'm gonna throw a curveball here. I think Brooklyn goes to 3. I think Milwaukee goes to 2, and I think Miami plays Milwaukee, loses to Milwaukee, and then Brooklyn has to play Boston in the first round. And Boston is a 2-man team. They're not going to beat the Nets by any means, but they'll give them some trouble because Tatum and Brown are just so good, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll be a 5 or 6 game series. That'll be a tough first round for Brooklyn, right? You got Washington playing Philly. I want to go with Sean here. That's crazy, but
what?
I want to. Philadelphia. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I gotta stick with
Philadelphia. Embiid is too good. He's too strong.
Embiid is too good to lose in that first round. He's on another level this year. I hate to say it.
Alex Len's gonna lock him down.
Yeah, Alex Len. Yeah, and the ghost of Thomas Bryant, who's injured. Usually that saying is directed at someone who's dead. Thomas Bryant is still alive, but his what did he tear? His ACL?
Yeah, he did.
That's dead.
Killed my fantasy team.
There we go. And then we got. I think this stays New York, Atlanta. I think. You know what? As good as New York is, I think it's a 7-game series. New York wins in 7 games. I think Atlanta's really good. I think Clint Capella matches up well against these Knicks bigs. I think that Trae Young another disrespected player. I know he doesn't play any defense, but when was the last time a guy averaging 26 and 10 doesn't make the All-Star team? I mean, that's crazy, right? And yeah, I mean, Zach LaVine deserved it and Vucevic deserved it. You couldn't name anyone who didn't deserve it, besides maybe Ben Simmons. Did not deserve to be an All-Star this year. Never again. No, I'm kidding. His defense is pretty good. All right, so then second round, we got Philadelphia, New York, and then we got Miami, Brooklyn. Okay, 7-game series. As much as I love Giannis, Brooklyn in 7, I'm going to have Knicks over Sixers in 7. So the Eastern Conference Finals, New York Knicks versus the Brooklyn Nets.
Love it. I love that.
That's crazy. And then Lakers Clippers, right? I mean, that's
love that.
crazy, right?
I think that would be so great for the NBA.
That'd be great for the NBA, except for any fan that's not living on either coast. But yeah, then we got, I think, Nets. But that's going to be crazy. People are going to be like, oh, this is going to be Nets in 4. No, it's going to be 6 game series. 6-game series, Nets win. And then I'm going to say, oh my gosh.
It's a tough one.
Brooklyn in 7. Sorry, Gribbs. Sorry. Brooklyn in 7. Sorry. As much as I like the Lakers, I hope they prove me wrong. And I'm on recording going against my own team. But these inconsistencies from Davis scare me too much for me to say confidently that they can beat a healthy Harden, KD, and Kyrie.
Hall of Fame team right there.
Yeah.
Right.
3 Hall of Famers.
But yeah, that's our show today. Basically, any
awesome
closing words?
I think it was awesome. I'm glad you guys had me on. That was really fun, man. That was
fantastic. All right, I'm gonna
really
stop.
Cool.